What's up everyone, it's Aaron from Rudy Visuals and we're back with another gear review, and today we have this new wireless video transmission system, the Zolink 600 from a company called Shimbol. So a few months ago we reviewed a very similar product, the Hollyland Mars 400S Pro. Yeah, I don't know who comes up with these names either. And while it is quite expensive at around $650, it is an amazing bit of kit for filmmakers. The Zolink 600, however, is on the market for around $380, making it a much more wallet-friendly option for filmmakers looking for a more affordable wireless video transmitter. Now, why would you need one of these exactly? Just in case you are unaware, a wireless video transmitter allows you to record footage from a camera source and then wirelessly transmit that signal elsewhere to a monitor, a tablet, or a smartphone for the purposes of monitoring. This makes it a very incredibly useful tool for a really wide variety of shooting scenarios, such as filming with multiple people, like if you're on set, live broadcast, streams, and even us YouTubers and vloggers. It definitely seems like at this price point, they are targeting not only the professional, but also that prosumer, YouTube vlogger market as well. So let's have a very quick look at what we get inside the box. So pretty simple stuff here, nice and small box. We have a user manual inside, a Type-C USB cable, and the two units themselves. So one acts as a transmitter and one acts as the receiver. However, no batteries are included, there's no connectivity cables whatsoever, and no mounting options either. So do keep this in mind. So build quality wise, they do feel pretty decent. Each unit weighs at about 150 grams each without the batteries in it. The housing is somewhat plasticky, but I do like how lightweight and compact the units are. They feel pretty solid overall. The buttons though, yeah, they do feel a little bit flimsy, and while I do appreciate the inclusion of that little OLED screen, it's not the brightest screen in the world, particularly if you're filming outdoors, but for the most part, it's perfectly functional. Battery wise, these things use Sony NP batteries. Literally go into the back like so. Luckily, we have a bunch of these spare batteries from all the monitors and stuff that we have. You can pick up a couple of these batteries on eBay or Amazon for $10, $20. Both the transmitters and receivers have HDMI and SDI ports, so that means it'll work with a wide range of cinema and consumer level cameras, and both units work on the 5 GHz frequency band. There are also mounting holes on the sides and the bottom, but one downside in terms of mounting is that if you are using this on a smaller camera, like this little Canon 100D, you can see it's pretty much almost as big as the camera body itself. But I do like the built-in antennas. They don't protrude out like some other models do. So you're looking at up to 600 feet, which is about 182 meters using the receiver. And if you transmit to the phone app, it's 300 feet, so about 91 meters. The OLED screen lets you see and set up everything and start shooting fairly easily. It's quite sort of turn on, plug and play, connect to the same channel, and you're pretty much good to go. Very basic menu and UI, but again, very straightforward and easy to get working. There are 13 channels, and you can also use the automatic channel scan. As long as they're both connected to the same channel, they're pretty much paired, the transmitter and the receiver, that is. Unfortunately, at the time of filming this review, the phone app is not actually available on Google Play Store, which means anyone using Android phones will not have access to the app. Sadly, that also includes us. We are quite anti-Apple in this household, and most of my friends and colleagues are as well. So I didn't get a chance to borrow someone's iPhone or iPad to test out the iOS app. Having said that, from reviews that I've seen online, the app is pretty basic, and as I mentioned before, it does limit the range to about half. We've been told that the Android version will be available in about 1 to 2 months time. So sadly, we can't really test out the app in this review. But if you do have an iOS device, you can get the app working. And in the future with the Android app, you can transmit to 3 devices while also using the receiver. So 3 phones or 3 iPads as well. And if you aren't using the receiver, you can actually transmit to 4 separate devices, which is pretty awesome, to be fair. Let's say if you're filming an indie film or like broadcasting an event, and you have your camera operator shooting in one place while your director, your producer, DOP, makeup artist, sound designer, etc, etc. They can all be viewing the footage elsewhere. It definitely gives you a lot of flexibility, especially for those bigger video projects with a bigger crew. Now I have to see for myself just how good that range is. So I'm actually going to leave a camera running, get everything sort of hooked up, and I'll take my portable monitor setup and see how far I get before I can actually lose signals. So hopefully we get that 600 feet, but we'll find out. So to test this out, I have my camera rigged up to the transmitter. Then I fashioned this portable monitor setup. So I've got a monitor here with the receiver. So I'm just gonna play a replay of a Street Fighter match that I had this morning. And I'm gonna see how far I can go until that signal stops working. So in my house, a floor below, there's absolutely no issues with the signal. It's working perfectly and the signal is strong and very clear. So I'm just outside my house now, and as you can see, the signal is still pretty clear. So let's walk away a little further. So I'm about 150 meters away. It does break up a bit in patches, but for the most part, the signal seems pretty okay. There you can just see it does break up a little bit, but I'm about 150 meters away from my house at the moment. But pretty impressive considering that I'm in a very kind of like busy built up area. I've just got to about the limit of about 170-ish meters, and you can see now the signal has gone. So as you saw, in a busy built up city area, probably with all kinds of other electronic interference, you know, they actually performed really well. Obviously, the further and further I went, the signal and image did start to lag and break up until we got to that maximum distance. But considering most people wouldn't even use these like this, you're probably all going to be, you know, in the same floor, same building, same set. I've certainly got no qualms about the performance. Now, one area we do need to cover is the latency. So Shimbal states that this has a latency of 0.08 seconds. But what you need to understand is that, you know, with latency, the amount can vary pretty heavily depending on, you know, there's quite a number of variables actually. There's the camera you're using, whether you're using HDMI or SDI, the geographical location, the amount of electrical interference, etc, etc. Now, for my part with the 100D and also with the A7 III, I definitely got a noticeable amount of lag. Even when the receiver and transmitter were basically right next to each other, there was still a little bit of a noticeable lag. Now, this might be an issue for some people. Personally, for me, it's not that big of a deal. If you are just using these to check like your framing, your composition, exposure, a few milliseconds of lag might not be a deal breaker for all, but there may be some use cases where it could be. Another issue for some is the fact that you are limited to transmitting video up to 1080p at 60 FPS. Again, this might not be a problem for everyone, so this is another limitation you have with these and at this price point, so definitely keep that in mind. Also, there are fans inside the units which are not particularly loud, but ever so slightly audible. So if you are filming anything that needs, you know, complete silence, that could be an issue. However, you can turn the fans off completely within the menu, but doing so does tend to make the transmitter and receiver quite hot. And I'm not sure I'd be perfectly comfortable operating these for too long whilst they were that hot. But I found after a while, the fans would just turn themselves back on anyway. Probably does know that it's getting itself too hot and it needs to cool down. But with that said, who exactly should get this? You know, despite some of the limitations and issues, if you can work within those limitations, the Zolink 600 definitely has a market, particularly budget filmmakers, YouTubers and vloggers, and just need something cheap and cheerful but perform reliably. It's easy to use, has that great range, the performance is good within its limitations, and at $380 you're pretty much getting, you know, what you'd expect. If you are looking for something a little bit more premium and can transmit above 1080p, then be prepared to pay more, but for everyone else I think this is a really good option. Anyway guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, and subs if you loved it. Don't forget to hit that bell icon. Check out those social pages below, and as always, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.